It's Delaware, Thursday, January 29th. I'm Peter MacArthur. Thanks for coming by today. And every now and again, we'd like to take a look at the jobs picture to help you if you're looking for work or considering doing so. And when we do, we call in Chris Burkhard, Placer Staffing in Newark, to get his input. Chris, good morning. Thanks for coming on.
Peter, good morning. How are you today?
Good. Thank you. Nice to speak with you again. We got a lot to get through here. So why don't we do this, Chris? Why don't we start, first of all, at home, and you can talk about what's happening with jobs in Delaware right now.
That's great. I think the Delaware story is we are above 5% unemployment for the first time since 2021. I think that's relevant. This time last year, we were at 3.6%. So we're almost a full percentage point above the national average of 4.4. Delaware is a strong, small state. The numbers can be, interpreted a lot of different ways. So one of the things as I dug into it is actually the state's unemployment stayed the same or went down in all three counties in many of the major cities. There was a little bump in unemployment in Newark. So 7% unemployment, and I think there's a couple of things around that. We're a small state, so that reflects 1,000 people joining unemployment.
Yeah.
It also, unemployment makes up new workers entering the workforce. And I think that's part of this picture is that it's a little harder to find work today, and we've got some new folks entering the marketplace looking for work. And it's just created this picture. We're above 5% for the first time in a while. Overall, 5% is not bad. It actually suggests a positive churn where people are moving around and getting promoted and changing jobs. But we just have to watch it because we don't want to go any higher.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so let's transition now. The national jobs picture, how does that look early in 2026?
Well, Peter, that's the million-dollar question. The jobs picture really lacks momentum. It's an economy that's really hard to interpret if you're a business leader and you're trying to decide whether to grow and add employees. We have lowering interest rates. We've got inflation that is at least trending down. But we've got this incredible transformative technology in AI that is really shaping jobs now and in the future. So this is creating some uncertainty for businesses. But we have unemployment at historically low, around 200,000 a week for the short term. Yet if you lost your job and you're on long-term unemployment, those numbers are up. So all of this is creating a picture that's really hard to interpret. Last year, we created 50,000 jobs a month. The year before, it was 170. So if you're a job seeker, you're feeling that. There is less choice. There are still $7.6 million jobs. The reality is there are about that number of people that are looking for work. So it just doesn't feel, energetic if you're looking for work right now. But we continue to see jobs in healthcare, social assistance, manufacturing, government. So there are pockets. You just got to work at it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk more about where the real opportunities are. What are the top growing jobs as we sit here and speak today?
Well, I'm not sure if your whole audience would be on LinkedIn, but they just did a nice piece on jobs on the rise for 2026. And I saw two dominant features. One is things related to AI engineers, consultants, those that annotate the data, machine learning researchers, things that help train and manage and oversee AI and the new technologies. The other things are probably not as much of a surprise. Still continue to see things in healthcare, mental health, construction project leads, data center technicians. What is interesting is we're seeing a lot more what I would call independent roles, a lot more titles of around founder, of folks that are advising, folks that are consultants. So that's a huge increase, and I think it reflects, when it's harder to find traditional employment, people start businesses, which I think is a hallmark of what makes our country great.
Yeah, no question. I think sometimes there's not enough emphasis put on this. I'm talking about approach to finding a job. What actually works in 2026 for someone who wants to find a job?
Well, hiring is a little slower. Competition is pretty intense. I talked about long-term unemployment kind of being on the rise. So I just want to focus on the resume today because that's, frankly, Peter, that's what everybody seems like they want to talk about.
Yeah.
Most candidates write their resume for a human to read it. The reality is most human resources professionals search with a machine first. you can imagine the conflict. So these machines are using algorithms or AI, and they're looking for exact job description language. They're looking for outcomes, things that you've achieved, and they're looking for exact matches of your relevant skills. So that all kind of makes sense, but that's not exactly how we write. So what we have to do is we have to write in phrases, not poetry, and we have to put down problems we solve, and we have to think in terms of how people query information today. So it is a conflict, but it is something, if you think about how people search and write your resume accordingly, it can be a strong way to be noticed.
Let me ask you this, just kind of as a sidebar here, Chris. In a situation like that, when a person is looking to tailor their resume in the 2026 landscape, right, is something like a ChatGPT, does that become more useful because it writes like an algorithm in some way, or is that really not applicable here?
I think a lot of people have great skills, and writing a resume usually isn't in their top ones, right? So I think using your chat tools like that, all of them, are really a great way to get a leg up.
Yeah.
What I think you have to do is really, like I mentioned about where all the jobs are, we have to use it as a tool, and we have to make sure it's truthful, honest, and real, not just fancy prose with words that we kind of think are different than our own. Because the reality is when you look at chat writing, it has a feel for it, and that can be a real turnoff. So you have to find your own voice, but use those tools just like any other piece of technology. But it is the right question, because resumes that are just done in that format without some of you in it don't represent you well. It's as if someone else wrote it for you. It's just a piece of technology that wrote it for you.
Yeah, and likely a recognized one at that. Before we go, I just want to have you give people a quick synopsis on what myplacers.com is all about. In other words, for the people listening, they're saying, hey, this Burkhard guy seems to know what he's talking about. What can his place do for me if I'm kind of in the mix of looking for a job?
Well, we've been around for over 50 years, helping over 100,000 Delawareans figure out this job thing. So, as I've mentioned many times before, we're a brokerage. We talk a lot about how folks struggle with resumes and how to network and how to get in for opportunities. So we're a great entryway into Delaware's employers. And on the flip side, we help an awful lot of employers hire the right people. The job we do is we help identify the right people faster and efficiently for them. So we're at the intersection. So we thank you for allowing me the time, because, we provide a great service, a lot of great skills out there. People have a lot of talents. They don't spend a lot of time on their job search. Therefore, they need professionals to help them.
Yeah, it's all about direction and facilitating and all that kind of a thing. Chris, always great to talk to you, and thanks so much for chatting today. Appreciate it.
Stay warm, Peter.
Easier said than done.